Hello, everyone. We're almost at the finish line for this course. Today, I'm excited to dive into Chapter 10, which talks about the essential aspects of technology-based charge capture strategies. In other words, we're using health information to capture everything the organization is entitled to when we bill. So this kind of touches on things we're somewhat familiar with. We're going to talk about the concept of technology-based charge capture. We're going to talk about things like charge master. We're going to be talking about how we basically capture all charges. In the HCC model that we talked about earlier, that's coding all the chronic conditions. In the fee-for-service world, we're going to be talking about coding the right level of service code, right procedures, right modifiers, and all of that is crucial to these middle types of processes in the revenue cycle. The charge description master, also known as a charge master, is basically a database that talks about things that we go maybe to a medical center or another healthcare setting, a lab, test, what have you, and it has a code. And again, codes map to the fee schedule, codes impact the revenue. If we don't code things correctly, we don't get paid correctly. Then again, we'll talk about the different code sets, and this relates to HIPAA. People think of HIPAA as involving something that is basically about privacy, security, and while it does all of that, another piece of it is standardized code sets, which is including such things as ICD-10-CM for diagnosis coding, ICD-10-PCS for hospital-based coding, and CPT and HCPCS, which you've covered in other courses. Anyway, we're almost at the finish line. Again, some of this will involve some new terms. A lot of it will be things that you're familiar with. But either way, if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. We're almost here at the finish line as we reach into week 10. Thank you so much for being a part of this class, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Bye now.